Hello and welcome to Drama Recaps. Today we will delve into the 2023 biographical thriller film called Oppenheimer. Spoilers ahead. Based on a true story. The story pivots around the enigmatic figure, Julius Robert Oppenheimer, commonly known as Robert. A covert trial was held, aiming to tarnish his standing as the era's preeminent physicist. On the flip side, there's Lewis Strauss, who faced his own trial, aspiring to become the U.S. Minister of Commerce. He reminisced about his first encounter with Robert. Robert is now explaining the inception of his fame. His ascent to prominence began in Germany, where he unearthed a deep passion for physics. Recognized as a prodigious talent, he was there during the nascent stages of quantum mechanics. With time and expertise under his belt, he secured a teaching position in the Netherlands. It was there he crossed paths with Israel Isaac Rabi, who connected him with the renowned physicist, Heisenberg. By 1927, Robert had earned his stripes, obtaining a PhD and later a professorial position in the U.S. quantum mechanics. Then a novelty in America was his subject. His early days saw a limited audience, but as his lectures became more engaging, his classrooms swelled. Ernest Lawrence, another eminent physicist and a close ally of Robert, introduced him to social circles. At one such gathering, Robert's sibling, Frank, was in attendance. Robert met Jean, a fervent communist, sparking an instant connection. Later, his heart was claimed by Kitty, whom he eventually wed. Jean was disheartened by this union, but their friendship persevered. Lawrence warned Robert of Germany's advancements in weaponry, especially a powerful bomb. Given Robert's academic history in Germany, he was potentially on Germany's radar. This speculation materialized when General Leslie Groves approached Robert, recruiting him for the Manhattan Project. The mission was clear: to develop a bomb to rival Germany's, ensuring the US wouldn't be outpaced in World War II's arms race. In light of these developments, Robert readily took charge of the Manhattan Project. He proposed to Leslie an elaborate plan: the establishment of 4 secluded research facilities at a site known as Los Alamos, accessible primarily by train. Central to this location was a makeshift town catering exclusively to the staff, enabling them to bring along their families for what was anticipated to be a protracted assignment. The isolated locale was not only ideal for top-secret operations but also conducive for experimental detonations. Recognizing the merits of the proposal, Leslie swiftly gave the nod. To pool in the best minds, Robert and Leslie initiated conversations with the crème de la crème of American physicists. Despite some initial hesitance, primarily due to the detachment from civilization the project demanded, many acquiesced, realizing the wartime necessity. Isaac, who was ordered to join the Manhattan Project, harbored concerns about the potential global ramifications of their research, fearing it could precipitate a cataclysm surpassing any war. However, he had no other choice. Progress was swift, and along with the other physicists, Robert promptly initiated the project. But the journey wasn't without its hiccups. A perplexing miscalculation by physicist Edward Teller threw the team into a quandary. Seeking clarity, Robert turned to the genius of Albert Einstein. Scrutinizing Teller's work, Einstein discerned a peril: if Teller's computations were integrated, the resultant detonation could wreak havoc on Earth's very atmosphere. In the ensuing days, Robert, prioritizing family and duty, relocated his wife Kitty and their children to Los Alamos. Technical discussions ensued, focusing on the choice of core materials for the atomic bomb. The consensus leaned towards uranium and plutonium, anticipated to yield an explosive force rivaling 1,000 tons of TNT. Teller, however, championed hydrogen, which he believed could amplify the blast a millionfold. Robert, weighing the pros and cons, endorsed the use of uranium and plutonium. The project's intricacies extended beyond mere scientific dilemmas. The introduction of physicist Klaus Fuchs, on Robert's unilateral decision, irked Leslie, who underscored the mission's confidentiality and the omnipresent threat of espionage. Acknowledging the oversight, Robert sought to integrate familiar, trusted faces, urging Leslie to enlist his sibling, Frank, and his close confidant, Lawrence. The following day saw the arrivals of Lawrence and Frank, both rallying behind Robert in the monumental Manhattan Project. Amidst the rigorous scientific undertakings, Robert clandestinely met with Jean multiple times, with their rendezvous often extending overnight, unbeknownst to Kitty. In a gathering of minds, a sentiment echoed amongst the physicists: they weren't merely crafting a weapon, they were forging history. The shocking news of Jean's tragic demise reached Robert. Found lifeless in her apartment's bathroom, her death was pinned on depression. Yet, whispers abounded linking her end to her communist leanings, drawing parallels with the Germans. The loss of Jean devastated Robert. Navigating through his grief, Robert was faced with challenges within the project. Tensions ran high as anticipated results weren't forthcoming. Teller's rogue investigations into the hydrogen bomb further frayed relationships. Other physicists wanted Teller to leave the project, but Robert took decisive action. He restructured roles, bringing in Klaus Fuchs to fill the gap left by Teller. However, valuing Teller's acumen, Robert granted him latitude in his research, tethered only by weekly reviews. Under this new arrangement, progress surged. The team advanced from conceptual discussions to practical implementations, crafting bomb prototypes, erecting test towers, and initiating mini-scale detonations. Leslie, sensing the momentum, pressed Robert for a July completion, notwithstanding Robert's initial September timeline. Subsequently, a high-stakes meeting with top officials and military personnel was convened. The objective was clear: deciding the target for the atomic behemoth. With Nazi Germany already vanquished, Japan stood as the last Axis power. Tokyo initially emerged as the prime target, but strategic considerations shifted the focus to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the epicenters of Japanese military operations. The anticipated widespread devastation of these strikes was seen as a swift route to Japan's capitulation. Robert and his team, thus, accelerated their efforts. Their objective was not just a theoretical success, but a demonstrative one. The sprawling tower they had erected was earmarked for a live drop test. Working tirelessly, they miniaturized their prototype, ensuring its readiness. In preparation for the impending detonation, observation posts were strategically placed, enabling the team to witness history while steering clear of the cataclysmic shockwaves. As night approached, the Los Alamos team readied themselves to conduct the monumental bomb test. However, Mother Nature seemed unwilling as unfavorable weather delayed their plans. Yet, the team remained vigilant, constantly monitoring the bomb and the surrounding environment. When conditions finally cleared up, Robert, with bated breath, initiated the test. Rigorous precautions were in place, including monitoring electrical fluctuations, as even minor anomalies could lead to catastrophic results. The explosion was a success, and the mood in Los Alamos was jubilant, seeing the weapon as a means to hasten the end of World War II. Robert, having steered this colossal endeavor, was showered with accolades. The fruition of their labor was the assembly of 2 robust atomic bombs destined for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But amidst the festive atmosphere, Robert fears that the atomic age ushered in by his creation could cause new conflicts between countries. August 6, 1945, marked a day of infamy as Hiroshima bore the brunt of the atomic onslaught. Military echelons rejoiced at this tactical victory, but many of the project's physicists were beset with remorse, grappling with the moral implications of their invention which had wreaked havoc on countless civilians. The cataclysmic event catapulted Robert Oppenheimer to global recognition. At a subsequent public event, Robert was met with roaring admiration. Still, internal tumult overshadowed any pride he might have felt. Haunted by the immense loss of life his invention precipitated, Robert was plagued with guilt-induced hallucinations. In the following days, Robert met with President Harry Truman. While the president extolled Robert's contributions, lauding the atomic bomb as a game-changer that saved countless American lives, Robert had a pressing concern. He foresaw the Soviet Union striving to match or even surpass the US's atomic prowess. Recognizing the implications, President Truman greenlit the expansion of Los Alamos for heightened bomb testing and manufacturing capabilities. But Robert's persistent reservations about the atomic bomb's implications irked the president, leading to a terse exchange emphasizing the difference between creating a weapon and deciding to deploy it. In an unforeseen twist, during a later meeting, Lewis dropped a bombshell on Robert, revealing that Klaus Fuchs, a recruit vouched for by Robert, was allegedly a Russian operative. This revelation put Robert squarely in the crosshairs of FBI suspicion, with many now questioning his loyalties. The weight of Robert's contributions and their subsequent repercussions became more pronounced as he was confronted with the stark mortality figures from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In a poignant conversation, Teller, once a colleague and now a competitor, pointedly reminded Robert that their invention did not herald the end of hostilities, but rather marked the inception of the Cold War. This new era of geopolitical tension between the US and the Soviet Union was characterized by an arms race, primarily nuclear, and mutual suspicions. Lewis, feeling slighted by Robert during the atomic project and perceiving a conspiracy involving Robert and Einstein, sought revenge. To this end, he collaborated with William Borden to dig into Robert's past. Allegations ranged from Robert's ties with Germans, potential Soviet espionage, to personal scandals involving a mistress. The net was cast wide, ensnaring Robert in a net of doubt and suspicion. The trial was a spectacle. It laid bare not just allegations of Robert's indiscretions, both personal and professional, but also the undercurrents of jealousy and rivalry among the scientific community. Kitty, despite being aware of Robert's infidelity, stood by him, showcasing their complex relationship dynamics. But the trial took a dramatic turn when David, initially thought to be a trump card for Lewis, ended up exposing Lewis's unpopularity within the scientific community. Lewis's aspirations for a political career, eyeing the position of the Minister of Commerce, were shattered. In a bittersweet conclusion to the trial, Robert was exonerated from accusations of disloyalty, but at a steep professional cost. He was barred from further involvement in atomic research, including the hydrogen bomb project now helmed by Teller. Perhaps the most poignant revelation came towards the end when it was clarified that Robert's conversation with Einstein was not based on any animosity towards Lewis. Instead, their discussions revolved around the profound implications of Robert's atomic research, and the alarming realization that they had unlocked a force capable of annihilating the world.